All right, everybody, what's going on? I'm your host, Holly Blood Talk, and welcome to the Encouraged Talk Show. Natasha, thank you for coming on the show with me.
Hey, peace and
Thank
love.
you.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. I appreciate you. What does complex angel mean?
To be honest, I wrote books before I published No Apologies, and
Okay.
I wrote a book before about a girl who is doing open mics, and her pen name was Complex
Hmm.
Angel, and I'm like, hey, this should be my pen name, but it comes from like I'm a very complex thinker. Like I think
Okay.
very deep and profound. Like a lot of people be like, yo, can we just have a normal conversation? But that's not me.
Look, look.
I'm a very curious person. And,
Right.
I consider myself an angel, even though as a Leo, a lot of people hate us. So I consider
Um,
myself like 75%. No, let's be honest. I got a demonic side, but I'm an angel as well. But I'm a very
okay.
complex person. So yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah,
Okay. The book Out of Darkness, looking for the light, was always there. If am I correct? Looking for the light.
looking
Okay.
for the light that was always there.
That was always
Yes.
there. What is?
Out of Darkness is part two to my book, No Apologies.
Mhm.
It tells the story of what it's like after a victim leaves an abusive relationship. Because,
Okay.
we always hear stories about a person that dies or a person
Mhm.
that leaves, but we never know what it's like after they leave. So,
Mhm.
Out of Darkness was sparked after I left an abusive relationship that I was in. And I
Mhm.
realized that I was still angry, that I was still embarrassed, and like I just couldn't get him off my mind. I was going through this deep depression. I'm like, I thought after we leave, I thought everything was good, and I'm like, this story has never been written before. And I remember I used to be in this domestic violence group on Facebook, and I used to just have questionnaires with the females on there. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, men can be abused too, but this one was for women. And I was just asking them, like, were you guys okay after you left? Or, like, did you go through any type of emotions? If so, what? And everything that they listed was everything that I was feeling. And I'm like, this needs to be a book that is told, because you think that the storm is over after you leave, but that's when it really, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but that's when it hits the fan, because it's like now you're doing the unpacking process. Now you're trying to figure out who you are again, because with abuse, it's a mental addiction. You can't think outside of them. You feel like you can't function without them. So
Mhm.
once you separate from that, it's like now I have to figure out who I am all over again. Now I
Mhm.
have to rebuild my mental and everything. Like it's a lot. So that's where Out of
Mhm.
Darkness came into play.
Wow, that's strong. That's
Yeah,
strong.
thank you.
And I've never really, conversated with anybody that really went through that. I've always heard, people that went through, like abuse, when it pertains to like relationships and things like that, especially with women.
Yeah.
So, that's something strong, that you were able to overcome. There's some things in your book that you really try to put out there to people for people to be knowledgeable of and just informative about your abuse and the relationships that you went through.
That's definitely a good question. With both books, No Apologies and Out of Darkness, I wanted to stress how strong a sexual soul tie is,
Hmm.
because I was very addicted to the sex, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, not a lot of people, some people argue with me like, oh, maybe it shouldn't be so explicit. Maybe you shouldn't, have so much cussing in there. But I feel like
Hmm.
you can't get something through to somebody
Right.
unless you paint a vivid picture of what it's like. So
Yeah.
I wanted them to see how strong a sexual soul tie was. I wanted them to know that it's a deeper rooted issue beyond
Hmm.
domestic violence. This goes back to our childhood, because a lot
Hmm.
of us look for validation through others, because they give us something that we didn't get from our family or whoever raised us.
Hmm.
This doesn't just happen one day out the blue. You're looking for validation through this person. I
Hmm.
also wanted them to see what trauma bonding is like. A lot of us
Mm,
build bonds, whether that's friendship, whether that's relationships. We build it off of trauma. We build it off of what we have in common with people that's messed up about us instead of,
mm,
the positive traits about it. And trauma bonding isn't good. And,
mm,
I also just wanted them to know, with Out of Darkness, I wanted them to see that when it comes to abuse, it's a lot of suppressing.
mhm,
When you're going back and forth to your abuser, you want to forget everything that they did to you because
mm,
now I got you back on my good side. So now I'm going to make sure that I do everything in my power to keep you right here. So you suppress everything that they do. But when you're doing a lot of reflecting, you realize, damn, this person has hit me more than I wanted to admit. Like for me,
mm,
when I first wrote No Apologies, I
mhm,
always thought that he only hit me 3 times. But when I was writing Out of Darkness, I'm like, dang, I
mhm,
forgot he did hit me then. Dang, he hit me here. Like I suppressed a
mm,
lot. So that's what I really wanted to point out in both books.
wow. So a lot of the stuff was like coming back to you. You were able to like kind of, that's dope. That's
Yes.
dope. So I was like, while you were talking, I'm just thinking, I'm like, yo, is it kind of similar with like rape victims? You know how rape victims have kind of like, stories where, they're just like, they still have that, residue and, just trying to get over the hump of that. Like, is it kind of in the same, area?
Okay. So I've
And
never
I'm
been.
just asking, I understand, but I hear that a lot, and I'm just asking, just in case if you did hear it, maybe it's like kind of similar, but that probably wasn't the best.
I mean, no, I can answer from a
Yeah,
personal opinion. I've never been
yeah.
raped before, but I have been molested, and
Mm, okay.
it didn't go like my family. We didn't talk about it. We swept it under the
Right.
rug. So I struggled with
Mm,
lust in silence for a long time. So
mm,
I think that can play out of why a person who gets raped,
mm,
becomes very promiscuous because you're suppressing it, but you're also trying to process what happened to you. You
mm,
feel degraded. You feel like no one came to your rescue to protect you because with rape victims, I say that we go hand in hand when it comes to going to a prosecutor about it, going to the police about it,
mm,
and they make it seem like it was your fault. You get what I'm saying? Like when I
mm.
had went to go press charges against him, I heard cops talking about it like, oh, it's been a lot of abusive cases this weekend. Maybe they shouldn't mess with guys when it's football season. Like they weren't taking it serious. So
Wow.
I would say that I can relate to a rape victim when it comes to trying to get justice and the system makes it feel like it's your fault. Like, well, this is you,
Wow.
this is what you caused. So yeah,
Wow.
that's what I can say. But that's definitely a good question though.
Wow. That's see, and I didn't even it came to my head and I just like, yo, let me just ask her. Yo,
Yeah.
that's deep, man. That's deep. So more on the Out of Darkness book. So like what was your mindset when writing the book? Were you like, okay, I'm writing this book, but this is how I want it to penetrate people that been through what I've been through. This is what I want them to really receive and really get out of it. This is how I want them to feel. What was that like for you?
Writing Out of Darkness it was a big challenge. If I could be very transparent, because that's me,
Hmm. Yeah.
I was actually dating a guy that I had met through the abuser's baby mom, if that makes sense. I had
Hmm.
met him through her.
Hmm.
And when writing the book, I didn't want to write about it because I knew that it was going to shine light on that relationship.
Hmm.
Like in relationships, I was looking for people to save me, and that's very
Hmm.
toxic. You can't expect someone to save you.
Yeah.
So it's like I did a lot of procrastinating when it came to it because I'm like, this is about to bring some truth to my life that I really don't want. And
Mm,
it's like when I'm writing a book, I really don't know the reaction that someone will get. I write because it helps me to learn a lot about myself. Like
hmm.
this is the first series where I wrote about something very personal that I've been through. Other
Wow.
books that I wrote in the past, it was always just off entertainment. Like, just I have a very vivid imagination. So I'm like, well, let
Hmm.
me write about this. But I wasn't relating emotion. With this
Mm.
one, I had to be very
It's deep.
transparent
It's
about.
deeper. It's
Yes, I
deeper.
had to be
Hmm.
very transparent about
Yeah.
things that some people will be embarrassed to talk about. Like I didn't
Okay.
hold back. And I think I had more pride about, oh, I don't want to write this part because I don't want people to look at me in this way. But it's like peeling back the pride and just getting
Hmm.
the book out there. But I didn't know what people would think. I just know that I wanted to talk to someone that could relate, but at the
Hmm.
same time, I don't know if they're going to be open to it because I wasn't open to wanting to get help when I was in it, you know? So,
Hmm.
yeah.
So when people read your book, like what was the responses to like them reading your book?
Uh, with no apologies, because that one got 16 5 out of 5 stars. They were saying that they couldn't put the book down. It made them look at their own toxic ways. Out of Darkness, it has 5 out of 5 stars so far, and they were
Okay.
saying that this is the book that you need to read about rebuilding yourself after a
And I
relationship.
just wanted to correct that too. When I say the responses, like what were some things in your book that they really found, that touched them, in a way.
Okay,
So.
got you. So with the second one, Out of Darkness, one of the readers said that they really liked the part where me and the baby mama had got cool
Hmm.
because with the abuser, he had me living in a house with his baby mama and her kids and him.
Hmm.
That's how gone I was.
Hmm.
And people were like, how could you become friends with somebody like that? And I'm like, it's easier to be friends with somebody that's been through it, that understands what you're going through. But she said she liked the part where we were talking about how it's hard for us to be in healthy relationships after something like that because that's the type of love you think that exists. That's the type of love that you think you deserve. You
Hmm.
know, when you go from somebody that's an abuser, that's on your ass all the time,
Hmm.
wanting to know where you're at, like they're on you like a magnifying glass. And then
Hmm.
you get somebody that wants to love you through your pain and really wants to give you your space, you feel like, no, you don't love me. So they
Hmm.
said that that part really spoke out to them because it was like, damn, I think like that too. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I haven't really gotten a lot of responses about the book. I just got like
Hmm.
reviews about it. They haven't really given me any pictures of like, oh, this part spoke out to me.
Okay.
I just see the reviews on Amazon. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. So we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna come back. So guys, don't go anywhere. I'm here. I'm speaking with Natasha, and I'm your host, Howling Blood Sauce. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Encouraged Talk Show. Again, I'm your host, Howling Blood Sauce, and I'm here with Natasha, and we're talking about her book, Out of Darkness and No Apologies, and also our podcast as well. We'll get into that a little later, but right now, I want to continue to talk a little bit about Out of Darkness and then your book, No Apologies. So, your book, Out of Darkness, when what was like your your family's thought and when they seen your book or they read your book, were they inspired and just encouraged by your words or just seeing the things that you really went through?
Um, Two of my cousins they were very shocked. They said that they didn't know what I went through. I don't really have a close relationship with my family. My
Hmm.
friends are my family. Um, my extended family, like, out of state is who I talk to
Hmm.
the most, but they were very shocked about what I went through. They
And
didn't know.
I just wanted to clarify. I asked that question because I know that experiences like that, especially with being touched and everything like that, that it's kind of close niche when it comes to like family and things like that, because I know, you need that real, like that closeness,
Mhm.
somebody that, really is there. But I'm sorry, but go ahead.
But yeah, like, no, but they were shocked. They said that it was a very good book, and
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, listen, I think I get more responses from my friends,
That's
regardless, you
good.
know.
That's good. So let's talk about your book, No Apologies. Oh,
Mhm.
no. This is what I want to say about the Out of Darkness. Um, so for me, when I hear Out of Darkness, again, I hear, okay, coming from out of a dark place, into a light, basically seeing, envisioning. Um, like the moment when you were in like the dark place at that time is like when you seen the light, was it like, okay, I can immediately just go and I can just get free and I can just do what I got to do to get focused, or was it like a process?
It's a process. It's definitely a process with rebuilding yourself, figuring out who you are again, believing that you're worthy of going towards the light. and like,
Mm-hmm.
just learning to accept you for you, because like I said, with abuse, you're looking for
Mm-hmm.
validation through another
Right.
person. You're looking for them to save you, so it's a process. It's not easy at all.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's go into no apologies. So now no apologies. That's that's a big one because it's like you know again when I hear no apologies, it's like okay either I'm not apologetic or you know should I be or maybe I shouldn't. It's like a back and forth thing when I hear about that. So explain your book No Apologies.
No Apologies is the first part of the series. It's
Okay.
basically telling people who have been hurt, don't apologize for what you've been through, don't apologize for being yourself. The storms we go through are to shape us, not to make us fold. You got to embrace your dark days and your good
Mm-hmm.
days, because dark days brings you clarity to get
Mm-hmm.
through, to basically understand and embrace your good days. No
Mm-hmm.
apologies. Also, with a lot of abuse, you always find yourself apologizing because you're critiqued so much and something's always wrong. So you find yourself apologizing to anybody. No apologies. Just be you.
It's all
People gonna take
confidence.
you how they want to take you. Yes.
I'm all confidence. No, I was just saying, what are like some, some good quality things, some, again, some inspiring and encouraging things that you try to pass on to people when they talk to you about your book, No Apologies.
I basically explained to them. I wrote No Apologies from an addiction perspective so that people
Mm-hmm.
can understand why a victim stays. And I just basically tell them like the advice that I got in the book can probably help somebody, and
Mm-hmm.
just to understand that never take anything so personally. Don't hold on to grudges, because with the whole abuser, as hard as it was for me to forgive him, I had to realize he's going through his own personal battle in life. I can't hold
Mm-hmm.
on to that grudge. I can't hold on to the pain that you caused me, because honestly, it's made me a better person. No
Mm-hmm.
Apologies paved the way for self love, not rehab.
Made you
To
stronger.
talk about. Yeah, so why
Mm-hmm.
still be mad at that person? I gotta just forgive him, because he has to find his own way too. Everything that someone does to us is not it's not to hurt us. This is just them going through their own journey, trying to figure out themselves. Don't take it personal.
When you're at that point when you're like, okay, um, I have no apologies. I'm confident. I know who I am in details and in steps. Like, what was that like working your way up to being confident to say, okay, I don't apologize,
I'm learning to be more gentle with myself. That's the biggest
especially when you
thing.
got a big heart too.
Yes,
You got a
yes,
heart for
it's
people. That's hard.
that part. And then when they take advantage of the big heart, it's like, well,
Yeah,
like,
like
what am I doing this for? So yeah.
yeah, because I listen. I'm a nice person too, and that could be hard when you're a nice person. That people sometimes can take that for granted. But
Yes.
you know,
So this podcast is with my co-host and my best friend, Queen K. She's back in Detroit.
okay.
This is a podcast to help women of color to basically learn to come together, be a unity, empower each other. But we love to empower our kings on there as well. We like to
Mhm.
bring, men on and talk
I was gonna ask you
about,
that too.
yeah,
But go
because
ahead.
because we
Yeah.
like to know from y'all perspective of, like,
Hmm.
what our approach is like. Because I can't think like a man, so I need to get a man's
Yeah.
perspective. But
Hmm.
like, we also have our as a woman question, just talking, like, just asking questions about stuff that we struggle with, to see if we are going through it by ourselves, or if we're, but basically all the time we're not alone. So Queens
Hmm.
with Vibes and Visions, just to empower women. We're bringing our first Queens with Vibes and Visions women's retreat next year. First one's going to be in Philly. We're looking to take it, like, statewide, where we
Abroad.
just, yeah,
Hmm.
broad, we come together, and, like, we just talk about things that women go through, so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know you got people that come on the show, and they come on the show, and they talk about different things. What is that atmosphere like? Having people come on the show and they're able to uh, just find a new strength. Your show is called Queens with Vibe and Vision, so I know that they're receiving something from just coming on the show alone. So what is that atmosphere like for them?
It's like a phone conversation. Like, they be like, they be like, oh my god, like, I didn't feel nervous or nothing. We laugh,
Hmm.
we talk. I would say because me and Queen K rip off band-aids, we talk about personal stuff, it makes them feel comfortable to, talk about personal stuff as well. Knowing that, okay, 50 or 60 people are going to be hearing this live. And then who knows who's listening to it once we, record the audio and let it and process it and finish the touches. So, but
Mhm.
they feel comfortable and that makes us
Yeah.
feel good.
And I wanted to elaborate a little bit on that
Hmm.
part. When I say the atmosphere, how it makes the guests feel. Um, Coming in and knowing that I'm coming in, but I know I'm a queen, and I know I have vision, and I know I am a vibe. Do they get that feeling once they walk to your establishment?
Well, honestly, Queens with Vibes and Visions, that is just basically talking about me and Queen K's personality.
Okay. I mean,
They,
but it's so strong just to
right.
just to read it and watch it and see it. You know.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, honestly, I really could not answer that because like
mhm.
it just came up because I'm a vibe. I'm 420 friendly, and Queen K, she has the
Yeah.
vision. But it's
Okay.
like with them, like I said, I feel like they just come on knowing that I'm a woman, and
Hmm.
like you guys embrace me, and that
Hmm.
I'm not going through some of the stuff that y'all talk about alone.
Everybody, welcome back to the Encouraged Talk Show. I'm your host, Holly Bloodsall, with my guest Natasha. And again, we're talking about her books and we're talking about her podcast. What could you say would be your vision um, for the podcast?
My greater vision is to bring it to life. Like I said, we're doing our first Queens Revives and Visions retreat next year. Just to have talks with women who struggle to see their worth. I even want to start bringing men into it, but right now it's going to be just for women because there's some things we can't be vulnerable about in front of a man. Like
Hmm.
we can by ourselves because I just feel like when it comes to women, we tear each other down every day. We
Hmm.
are we're each other's competition, and it's because of what we were taught growing up. So it's
Hmm.
like just to basically bring us together because I feel like when women come together, it's a powerful impact. It's like there's
It
self
is.
love, there's unity.
Hmm.
So that's
It
definitely my
is.
greater vision to bring women's retreats. Start off in Philly, then go to the next state and just see where it can go. Like I'm trying to make this my second income. So yes,
Speak, better speak it. What's up with self love is my rehab.
I no apologies. I was just sitting down thinking one day, growing up, I've always I couldn't be by myself. I've always wanted to be in relationships. And I always heard people saying, girl, you need to love yourself. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Because I see you saying love myself, but I see you jumping from relationship to relationship.
Hmm.
Like people that told me to love myself weren't start setting the best examples. And that's when I
Hmm.
came to the epiphany, like, we really don't know what self-love is. So my co-host DC, he's also from Detroit. We
Hmm.
got together and we created Self-Love is My Rehab.
Hmm.
And we talk about life issues that we struggle with within ourselves and within relationships around us. And that podcast is helping me to become a better person. Like I don't do self love my rehab like I'm somebody's therapist. I just get on there and talk about what I went through, and it helps me to learn about myself. One of the segments on there is called "Shut Me the F Up,"
Hmm.
and this is just basically us just not debating with each other, really letting people get their perspective of how they see self love or how they see whatever topic we're talking about, how they see it. Because when you shut up and you listen to somebody's opinion, you can learn from them. We say we're entitled to our opinion, but that's not true. Because if I
Hmm.
said something that you disagree with, what you gonna do? You're gonna try to get me to see it your way.
Right.
So it's a safe space for people to come in and talk about vulnerable things. And that's another podcast where people rip off band-aids because they like, yo, thank y'all for having a show like this.
Hmm.
Is it streaming like Love and Hip Hop? No, because everybody don't want to talk about these things, but
Yeah.
it's helped me to
But
become a better person. So yeah.
reality, stuff that's reality, and stuff that really can
Hmm.
help you for
Yep.
real. And I really love that because you have people, really just about everybody, are in positions where they need that kind of rehab, that love rehab, that
Hmm.
coming back, to who they should be or who they should be more.
Yes.
So we definitely need that. So now with this show, where do you really want to take this show? Because we got the other one. You want to take that one. So now where do you want to take this one?
I see self love as my rehab as a community center. When you
Mm,
come in, you
that's
see,
yo. I'm
yes,
sorry. That's good. You almost
yes.
made me get out of my seat with that one. Yo, that's
I
good.
do. I see it as a
That's good.
community center. When you come in, you see people spitting poetry in the front, or rapping, or singing about their struggles. You have people that's cooking for the homeless. I see
Mhm.
people giving makeovers, or doing care for women who've been in abusive relationships, or homeless people. And then there's counseling in the back.
Mhm.
Just to talk about what we're going through. Like, I see it happening one day. I visualize
Mhm.
it. I see the building, but I know that it's going to take me a long way. But I'm putting in that legwork to get there. Yes.
So, we pray to Jesus Christ. Lord Father, I just thank you for allowing us to come into this place and this time, to be able to share stories and to be able to encourage and inspire people. God, I just pray that for Natasha, that you will continue to keep her and you will continue to bring out the things that need to come out, and the things that need to go in will come in. God, I pray that she'll continue to have the confidence, and she'll continue to have even greater love for people, and even greater love for herself. I pray that everything that she does will be touched and covered and seen through you and by you. And then I pray for her success continually throughout her life, greatly, even over into her children's life. God, I pray that in your name, and it's in the name of Jesus Christ, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
So, um, that's it. So, before again I end, I just want to say thank you. You are an amazing person. Everything that you've
Thank you.
went through and dealt with, um, is definitely felt, and people do receive it and people do hear you. Just keep speaking and keep talking about it. Keep letting people hear you. Keep letting people hear your story. Keep letting people hear your thoughts, because people need your thoughts. I had a time where I felt like nobody would be able to hear what I experienced, because I don't always hear people that experienced premature birth. I don't always hear people that went through what I went through. So sometimes it
Mm,
would be tough for me to be like, oh well, nobody you know nobody nobody wouldn't hear, but they do hear. And
yes.
I'm learning that each and every time I'm able to speak it, even if I don't get a response, I still got to speak it, because that's my testimony. That's what I've been through, and somebody
Okay.
hears, and there's people that have been through it. So I'm just encouraging you to continue to do it, continue to do what you're doing. You're doing a great job. So
Thank you.
thank you, Natasha, again. And you that are watching and that have watched, you're watching The Encouraged. I'm your host, Howling Blood. So again, my guest, Natasha, and we will talk. I will talk to you again soon, and Natasha will talk to you again soon too. Um, and we'll see you later.
All right. Peace and love, y'all.
All right.